Well, GTC is our most important conference. We're a GPU computing platform company, and developers is the most important thing. SDK is our most important product, and GTC is our most important event. If you take a look at the growth in the last several years, the growth has been utterly staggering. This year, GTCs would have welcomed 16,000 attendees from around the world, not including all the people that enjoyed the content and the tutorials and the labs and all the talks and the keynote from the web. These are attendees who showed up here like yourself. 16,000 this year compared to 37,000 just 2 years ago. The number of people who downloaded our SDKs, the number of GPU developers, increased by a factor of 3 to over 400,000 developers on GPUs now. These are software developers, researchers, designers, game developers who are now using GPUs to develop their software. And this software is enjoyed by hundreds of millions of people around the world. But the most staggering number is actually the number of deep learning developers. 25 times increase in just 2 years. The number of developers that have downloaded cuDNN, our deep neural net and deep learning library and engine, has increased by 25 times and has been downloaded 55,000 times. Well, what are people doing with it? A lot of it is higher ed. AI researchers from all over the world. There's not one AI laboratory that I know of today that doesn't use NVIDIA's GPU platform for their AI research. Software companies could be internet software providers, internet software such as Baidu software for voice recognition would be among those. And then, of course, internet companies, auto companies, governments, medical for imaging, for image recognition, for medical imaging, as well as finance and manufacturing. The number of fields that GPU deep learning is touching is really quite shocking. Well, you got to ask yourself, I guess, at the core, why is it that AI researchers have adopted GPUs? Well, we know exactly why Alex Krizhevsky found it. It's because the parallel computing model of the GPU is very consistent with the needs of his deep learning network. But the question is maybe a little bit deeper than that. Why is it that the GPU was such a perfect fit for deep learning? And there's of course going to be a lot of science and a lot of research in this area in the coming years. But let me give you maybe a tongue-in-cheek, a not-so-serious example of why it is. It's possible, that your brain is in fact a GPU. So for example, when I ask you to think about ping pong, and you close your eyes and you think about ping pong, it is very likely that your brain generated an image of a couple of people playing ping pong. If I asked you to think about Kung Fu Panda, and you close your eyes and you thought about Kung Fu Panda, it's very likely that we all thought of a similar Kung Fu Panda, that our brain generated computer images in our brain. We call them mental images. It is also the case that our GPU is structured kind of like our brain. Instead of one very, very powerful processor that's operating sequentially, our GPU has thousands of processors, smaller processors, that are trying to solve a problem together. These thousands of processors are doing mathematics and connecting with each other, sharing information with each other, ultimately solving one large problem, a little bit like a brain. So the brain is a little bit like a GPU in the sense that it generates images, and our GPU is a little bit like a brain. And so maybe it is the case that this new computing model to solve artificial intelligence is a computing model that is perfect for GPUs.